Moscow, and Alexei is joining us from Moscow. Alexei is a cultural historian, and presently he is an MA student at Moscow School of Social and Economic Sciences. So whatever you want to add, please go ahead.
I think it's enough. Thank you so much.
It's enough? Okay.
Yes. Dear colleagues, frankly speaking, it's my first presentation in English, so I hope that everything will be clear, and please pardon me for my mistakes. The field of my research, the title of my presentation is a Portraiture as a cultural practice in the Russian Silver Age. The field of my research is very close to social history of art, social history as such, with a great attention to the achievements of historical anthropology. My study is based on eager documents like memoirs, letters, and diaries related to the names of Valentin Serov, Konstantin Somov, Boris Kustodiev, Mikhail Nesterov, Alexander Golovin, Igor Grabar, and Alexander Benoit. My methodology includes 3 points. The first one is common historical critique of sources. The major part of my sources were published in the Soviet period, so we should be very careful with the ideological aspect. That is why I prefer ignoring those parts of memoirs in which the artists condemn bourgeoisie and nobility, and concentrated on the parts which describe the common practices of collaboration with them without naming class belonging. Also, I divide the process of portraiture into several stages: the stage of project acceptance, its implementation, as well as the phase after work completion. And then I try to find that what these stages have in common. And the third point is the interpretation. In my opinion, the most productive approach, which can explain the variety of phenomena inside the process of portraiture, is the Pierre Bourdieu's theory of capital. Bourdieu classifies the capital to 4 principal forms: the economic capital, objectifying in form of money or property; the symbolic capital, it's any kind of capital which is the most valued in the society; the social capital, it's a durable networks which can be converted into another kind of capital, like economic one; and the last one is the cultural capital, the special objects like books or pieces of art, if we speak about objectified state of cultural capital, or cultural capital or professional cultural or professional skills for embodied state of cultural capital. With this approach, we can analyze portraiture as the series of exchanges, which are not only mercantile ones, like money for the portrait. It lets us interpret some unusual social rituals. For example, the artist could refuse several times before accepting a commission to paint a portrait. We know about the cases of Valentin Serov and Olga Orlova-Davidova, Valentin Serov and Maria Samoilovna Tsetlin, Konstantin Somov and Yelena Olive, Somov and Henrietta Girschman, and so on. The common practice for the artists was to give an unclear answer. Sometimes an artist and a client could return to that issue some years later, for example, 2 years and more. There is an explanation in Bourdieu's theory. Pierre Bourdieu wrote that there is some dissimulation about the cultural production, like there is no connection with money at all. It seems illogical when the artist rejects the profitable contract. But in the logic of cultural and symbolic exchange, such artist's behavior looks very reasonable. It's a part of social game. The client should follow this ritual to support the artist's cultural capital. Only in this case, the artist can share his cultural capital with the client. Another strange phenomenon is the public nature of portraiture. We usually believe that the artists dislike any comments in the process of work, and it is just for initiative projects only when the sitters are relatives, friends, or colleagues. However, there were the other norms for commercial portraiture. The client's friends and family members could join the sessions and even give comments. In this way, clients can get more social dividends, demonstrating their collaboration with a famous artist. Moreover, participating in dinners, making small talk about art, and attending public events with a sitter were for the artist as much a part of the project as painting the actual portrait. It was a kind of public acknowledgement of proximity, which helped share with their social connections. Even reserved, Valentin Serov spent a lot of time in public. Konstantin Somov, in his diaries and letters, described in details lots of special events, such as dinners with his sitters and their friends. Nikolai Ulyanov, in his memoirs about Serov, gave an interesting example of the social conflict. Serov's sitter left him to have dinner without inviting the artist. Serov became very angry, feeling abused. This situation was interpreted in Soviet historiography as a class conflict. However, in reality, it was only the violation of the social ritual. The case demonstrated not the fact that there was an antagonism between artists and their sitters, but the fact that they follow formalities as a rule. I would like to underline that an artist also possessed social capital in the world of art. The share of contacts and connections contained the elements of social risk. For instance, Konstantin Somov had to break his relationship with Yefimia Nosova when she got into conflicts with the artists recommended by him. The long conversations between the client and the artist was a way of cultural exchange, because cultural capital can't be received instantly or delegated to others. It demands the personal investor's time and participation. Numerous portrait sessions could be connected not only with art goals but also with a cultural exchange. In his memoirs, Felix Yusupov recalled his long conversations with Valentin Serov in the Park Arkhangelskaya while the period of being portraited. Portraiture as a cultural practice can be described only in the situation with bourgeoisie and nobility, and only with those who are interested in art, because they needed cultural and symbolic exchange. The experience in working with emperor's family and officials showed that Russian artists in these relationship were closer to dominated groups. We can consider this interaction as a form of patronage. The suitable example we can find in Boris Kustodiev's letters. Having finished the portrait of Graf Soltsev, the artist was accused of presenting the colored corpse. In return, Kustodiev claimed that so-called corpse was sitting in front of him, looking even worse in the real life than in the picture. As for commoners, it was very hard to get their agreement to be a sitter. For instance, the same Kustodiev tried to persuade the old women from the Russian province to become his sitters. They initially refused him because of their fear of being portraited. Solving this problem, Kustodiev lied to them, saying that he was a nephew of a rich local citizen. He immediately received the permission. Thus, they were not interested in Kustodiev's cultural or symbolic capital, but were not against getting social points. What we can figure out from this study: the client, despite his own comfort, was interested in maintaining the artist's reputation as independent and inaccessible creator. In his turn, the artist was ready to spend a lot of time demonstrating the fact of his cooperation with the client. It gave the artist the access to the client's social capital. At the general theoretical level, the present research allows us to supplement the theory of patronage, widely used in the social theory of art, with an alternative sample of relations based on the mutual interests and interdependence of the client and the artist. Thank you for your attention.